Welcome to Overtime Heroics. I'm Mason Shattle, and joining me today is UFC fighter Mason Jones. How are you doing?
Good, pretty good. Thanks for having me on again. Obviously, well, it's been long since our last one. When was it?
November time, I believe.
That's flown by.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we'll get onto your UFC debut soon, but obviously we was talking about how you in the States off camera and you're training over in Sacramento at Team Alpha Male. How's it been going the past couple of days being there?
Good. This helps a lot if I can show you now. Do you know what I mean? Every day is like this.
Making us a bit jealous there, Mason.
Pardon?
You're making us a bit jealous there. We're stuck in the rainy UK.
I know, it just makes everything a little bit easier. Like
Yeah.
I said in interviews before, like I love Wales. Wales is somewhere that I'll always live and I'll never leave. Mainly because I do love the country so much. It's a beautiful country, but it is so cold, and the cold is just, it kills the body. Whereas like I've literally just had tests done actually for part of my nutrition. They did loads of different things, different tests, different things. Did test my bloods for all sorts, and my vitamin D levels were actually really, really low, to the point where they I have to start supplementing a lot as well. So I'm in a process of contacting the PI. I'm visiting the PI in May before the fight for 2 days, and I'm hoping they're going to sort me out with some supplements and some vitamin D supplements and different things. So I can really start just making sure everything's balanced a bit more. But yeah, like the weather here is at the minute is 24 degrees, I think. It's a high this week. Most of the days are 28 to 30, so it's perfect. Do you know what I mean? Training out here is unbelievable. The height, the level of the guys here is just something else. Like, there's a reason I do come out multiple times. Like, this is my 5th or 6th trip, I think. 5th. And it's just, I'm really lucky to have a good relationship with most people here now, so that I come and everyone's happy to see you, and they're straight like, yeah, we'll get loads of work in, and it's good.
Obviously, Team Alpha Male is run by UFC legend Uriah Faber. How has it been? Obviously, you mentioned you've been here multiple times now, but how is it getting the chance to learn and train from Uriah while you're over here?
Uriah's second to none. Like, if you need something done or if something happens, so like last time I come here, when I parked my car in a supermarket car park, went inside to buy some groceries, just my normal food shopping. I sound like American now, like. Come back, and someone had gone inside my car and taken all the wing off my rental car. So I was like, shit. I was like, I can't send it back. They're gonna fine me so much money. I was like, I don't have the money. And Uriah was like, yeah, don't worry. He's like, I'll sort it. So I literally, he was like, after training, he was like, follow me. He said, I'll take you to a guy and I'll sort it. So I was like, yeah. So we finished training. I followed him to meet a friend of his. He introduced me. He said, look, I said, I've got to get back. He said, he'll sort you out. And then I followed the guy in the car to a repair shop. They fixed the car up, and the next day I picked it up and I returned it 2 days later. So yeah, Uriah gets anything done. So like this time I had a problem with my car rental, where they told me in the airport that my credit card, I've got a Virgin Atlantic credit card, comes up as a debit credit or credit debit or some shit like that. So it meant that my credit card couldn't use to rent a car. Well, I said, look, I've never had this problem. They said, look, you can rent the debit card if your flight's out on the day you bring the car back. But obviously I was bringing the car back with no available date of when I'm flying to Vegas, because the UFC hasn't booked it yet. So they just flat out refused to give me a car. So I spoke to Uriah. I said, look, pay a bit extra. He said, rent a car for 2 weeks. So whereas before, I think it cost me £1,400 to rent a car for 6 weeks. I paid like $750 to rent a car for 2. So like literally half the price to rent for a third of the time. And then he said I can borrow one of his cars after that until I go back. Like, that's just the guy he is. He's just so welcoming. He's so helpful with everything. Like, he doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't gain anything from helping me, but he likes to help. And to be fair, like he said, we've talked this time, and he's really interested in sort of getting me out here a bit more permanent. Obviously, I'll never move out here, but I think I'll start coming out for my camps a lot more. I just need to sort something with my girlfriend, because if she can come with me, I don't think I'd want to come home. I've got a 3-year visa, so I could actually stay here for 3 years, no troubles. But I'm happy traveling back and forth.
What's it like learning from Uriah, obviously, with him being the head coach of Alpha Male? What's it like learning the stuff he knows?
Oh, really good. And like his coaches he's got underneath him, like he's got Danny Castillo, who is a 155 legend. He fought some of the best in the world, like Tony Ferguson. I'm sure he fought Anna Quinta. He's fought like some of the best. Then you've got Chris Holdsworth. Obviously, he was another legend at Bantam. Mike Malott, who was signed to Bellator before he had a long sort of break from competing. Just went into coaching a lot more. Now he's back competing again and on a tear. They've got what's his name? Alex Munoz. Alex Munoz is a high-level wrestler who actually fights on Saturday, so big shout out to Alex. And then like there's loads of other assistant coaches and different things and people who are helping out. I probably missed someone who's probably going to kill me, but like today, because everyone's away with the Alex Munoz fight, or like Holdsworth is doing work with Garbrandt ready for his fight. Feely took the session, so me and Feely got some good rounds in, and like the stand-up, the technical levels and the stand-up with Feely is unbelievable. So there's a high-level mix of guys, and it's just perfect to train with.
What time is it over there right now?
1 p.m. So I was literally, I suppose, refreshing. I just cooked my lunch. I normally get back from the gym around 12, but I was a little bit late leaving. And then by the time I got back, I got lost on the way back, and I had to grab my food shopping. So I got back about 12:30. So I rushed to cook my food quick before the interview. So my apartment stinks of fish, but it's all good.
Well, I appreciate your time. You got any more sessions in for today?
Yeah, so I've only done one so far, so I got another 2. So it's a bit of a lighter day today. So I had a pro session this morning, pro practice this morning. Then I've got I'm gonna do a light run before BJJ, and then obviously I got BJJ, which is normally quite a tough session. And then Friday's my last day of the week, so I only do 5 days a week out here and I have 2 days off. But they're intense and they're really high level.
What's it like being over in the States? Are you enjoying the American cuisine before you get deep into fight camp?
Well, I'm cutting weight, so it is the most difficult place in the world to diet. But like everything is just easier out here. Like the roads are easier, the weather is always kinder on the body. I said this earlier. So like food is relatively cheap. There's certain things that are expensive which you wouldn't sort of expect. So like almonds are naturally grown in California. Almond butter is still quite expensive. And then there's like certain types of meat and certain types of fish are quite expensive, and everything else is quite cheap. But it's relatively easy now. I understand what I'm doing to get cheap, high quality food. And like to be fair, I live like king out here for cheap. Like I think the most money I spent was the first 2 days I was here, because I had to Uber back and forth, and then after that, when I got my car sorted, this a lot cheaper.
Well, are you in an apartment, I take it, while you're over there?
Yeah, so normally I stay with one of the boys from the gym. He has a big house, so I crash with him. I like it a lot because he's usually Mike is usually coaching. So he's never home in the days, and Hector's normally works in the days, so he's never home. So it's normally just me on my own in the days, and then we'll both come back at the nights. But I always do the same sleep pattern out there, which is I go to bed at 9 o'clock, and then I wake up at 6. It just works easier with stuff back home. So I get to speak to people back home as early, and then I have an early sleep in the night. And like a lot of people think that's boring, but like I am here for fight camp. Like I'm not here to enjoy the weather or to go swimming or like to do anything you can do in California. Like I'm here for business. It's a business trip for me. So it's head down and get to work. And to be fair, I love this routine I got, and I love the peace and quiet. That's why I'm considering I couldn't stay with the boys. It's like no problem. So I rented an apartment. It's a tiny apartment. It's a 1 room. So like literally my bed's there.
Yeah.
Little living area. This is part of my kitchen. So for me, it's perfect. And like I lived in Brazil for 3 months in a tiny little sort of hostel where they had no aircon. There was a crappy little kitchen and a garden, and it was boiling all the time. There was like We had to walk to get all the food and stuff. There was no access to vehicles. So, like, I'm used to roughing it. And this is, to be fair, this is somewhere I quite happily see myself living. There's no problem here. Obviously, I think if my girlfriend was staying with me, I probably would have spent out again a bit of a nicer place and treated her a little bit. But like I said, she couldn't make it this time, so it's all good.
I felt like we've rambled on about not specifically fight stuff for a while. Let's get straight into the stuff that we're here to talk about. Alan Patrick, June 5th, I believe. How's the preparation going for it?
Awesome. Yeah, really good. To be fair, Patrick is a really weird guy to fight. He's got a really wild style, but he's got some very, very good pressure wrestling. So as soon as I knew I was fighting Alan, and I said to my manager, I said, look, I need to get to California. I need to train. I said, I need to really push my wrestling. I said, it's the best place to do it. So they sorted me out. And like I said, my waiver come through on Wednesday and I flew Monday. There was no messing around. I booked basically the next available flight on the Monday and woke up at 4 a.m., drove to London, and then caught a flight at 10 a.m., landed here 5:30 p.m., and then got back, stayed awake till 9, fell asleep, and then I've been doing the same thing. And to be fair, this is the first day my jet lag's gone, so 8-hour time difference, and I got rid of it in about 2 days. So I'm getting used to the jet lag thing now, so it's all good.
I just want to talk about a few of your coaches at home. On my own podcast, I had Greg Creel on, obviously, one of your coaches. How is it when you're at home? How is it learning from Greg, like learning the BJJ from him?
To be fair, like my coaches back home, as high a level, if not higher level, than the guys I get coaching from out here. Like, there's only so much things you can learn, and like between Greg and Craig, like they're very, very high level when it comes to BJJ. Like I'd say even like the coaching is higher level than I really get from here, because like the BJJ classes here are more of a public class, whereas I can get specific stuff from them individually. Like my old dream would be able to get them out here for my camps so that they're helping with my camps we go. But obviously they've all got earning money, so until I'm earning that big money and I can get them on salary, there's only so much I can do. So it's just literally just crack it on and getting everything sorted. But they're hoping to fly out like a week or two before I fight, so I'll probably meet them in Vegas and finish off my last week of solid training, like a week or so before the fight, out in Vegas with them. So like my boxing coach can tidy some stuff up. I can go over some last minute stuff with my jiu-jitsu coaches, and my wrestling stuff is going to be on form from out here. So it just makes sense to come out here.
I know you're not going to want to give too much away, but is there anything that you can tell us that you're expecting to come from Alan?
Well, to be fair, like I don't think it's going to be giving anything away. He fights the same fight every time, which is he's very wild. He does a lot of mental stuff, and he comes out and tries to pressure wrestle and tries to double leg from distance. So from my game plan is literally just to pick him off, keep him away from me, slow him down, tire him out. Like he's got a 77-inch reach. I think he's got like a 2 or 3 inch reach on me. And I've got a long reach. So he's going to be difficult to deal with. Like I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy fight. It's going to be a very, very tough fight. Like every fight in the UFC is going to be tough, but he's good at what he does. I'm good at what I'm doing. So it's all going to be about is killing what he does and making it my fight. And that's going to be slowing him down, keeping him away from me, and just lighting him up every time he closes in range. And I think if I can kill him off and stop his game in the first round, then it's my fight. Then it's my pressure and my pace. And I think I'll stop him in the second or third.
Apart from the wrestling, is there anything else that you've been specifically working on that you're willing to say?
Yeah, fighting Southpaws. I usually like fighting Southpaws, but if they're rangy, they're long, and they do a lot of mad stuff, it kills my kicking game a lot. I can't really kick too much because anything I throw at him, he's going to sort of try to eat to get a takedown. And I don't want to fight that fight where you're constantly on your back, because it's very hard to win a fight if you're on your back. So, do you know what I mean? It's a very difficult fight, like more so than I think my debut. My debut was quite straightforward. I just made a hash of it. But this is another tough fight, and it's another thing I'm going to overcome.
100%. Say June 5th, you become victorious in the UFC. When you become victorious in the UFC, what's next? How many times do you think we're going to see you again this year after June 5th?
So it all depends on how damaged I'm in this fight. If I come out with like I don't know, with some bruises and cuts, as long as there's nothing too bad, I can see myself having a quick turnaround. If I come out here and I do sustain an injury, then obviously it's all about being prepared and getting healed up. But to be fair, I'm always keen to fight. Like I don't have anything else. Fighting is my life. It's something I've sacrificed for near enough 19 years. I've been in the sport a long time, even though I'm still relatively fresh. So, like for me, my whole game plan is just this year. My whole plan for this year, not my game plan. Sorry, my whole plan for this year is just to keep my head down and keep pushing. And I need to secure my foundations. Like before the last fight, I said in a lot of interviews that I was entering a shark pool, which is a lightweight division, and it was all about just eating the fish in front of you until you're the biggest fish in the ocean. Well, now at the moment I'm bleeding and I'm in the water, so do you know what I mean? I'm not in a great place. I need to make sure that I really double down and I really show people that I deserve to be here, and I earn my spot. And that's, as soon as I get that foundation and I get secured, then I can start my climb. It's all about those foundations. And like my champ status did sort of put the ground there ready. And then after my fight of the year, fight of the night contender with the Ponus, that sort of, it kept me a little bit there. But until I get a good win under my belt, I'm not going to feel secure. So it's all about getting that win and then looking for the future and then looking for what's next. Like I'm not overlooking Alan. I'm not overlooking Alan. He's a very serious contender.
I don't think you will, but is there a name in mind that you'd like to fight after Alan?
Everybody and anyone. Like the lightweight division, there is no easy fight. So I'm just going to fight everyone that's put in front of me. And like the UFC know what they're doing. Like when I get a couple of solid wins, I can start calling out some vets that I've always wanted to fight. But until then, there's no rush. Like I won 2 or 3 fights against like some earlier on guys the same as me until I really find my rhythm, and then I'll start looking for a place. So to be fair, this year I just want to spend this year getting some good wins under my belt, like another 2 wins, and then I can start looking at top 15 sometime next year.
I'm going to go to your UFC debut. Before we talk about the result, how was you feeling going into the fight with Mike?
My camp went well. I'm not gonna come up with any excuses about anything like, oh, I didn't feel 100% of the night, because it's like the Derek Lewis said, the Black Beast. Some days you fight and you don't feel well. Like I felt awesome in camp, and then when it come time for fight night, I felt about 40% in there. I messed up a little bit my preparation, but that's all on me. But like there's no excuse for not getting a win. And I come out, I felt a little bit off my rhythm, and he had a good game plan in place. And rather than slow things down and really start thinking and using my head to beat him, I just went at him like a hammer. And a lot of people here would work against him. It didn't. I just made a lot of mistakes on top of mistakes. Kept my hands low. My rhythm was gone, non-existent. My wrestling was very poor. And these things just added up. And even though I lost a split, and it was a close split, I still lost. That's all that matters. Like at the end of the day, I'll be looking back on this in a few years and being like, oh yeah, I lost that fight. Like you don't say, oh, it was a close fight. You lost. That's the end of it. Do you know what I mean?
As you say, it is a close fight, and a few fights down the line after both of you guys, do you think you could potentially see a rematch between you and Mike?
Anyone and everyone. It doesn't matter. If it went again, I beat him six times out of 10. Do you know what I mean? 7 times out of 10. It doesn't matter. By the time I get to the place where we do a rematch, if that does come, he'd have to have done a serious work, because I'm going straight to the top. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to start my climb again. That's all that matters.
100%. You mentioned before 19 years or so you've been in the fight game. What got you involved originally?
Oh, I get this question all the time. I started training when I was 7 in an old kickboxing gym. They did like early onset MMA. They called the self-defense class, and like the likes of Jack Shaw, Jack Marshman, Richard Shaw, they was all trained in the same gym, all started the same with me, Joseph Duffy. And it just snowballed from there. I went from there into judo, into high-level judo, BJJ, boxing, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, just anything that would help my game. Like since I was about 10 or 11, the game plan was always to go into MMA, and that was always the dream. And I just worked it, and like I've got a well-rounded game, and I'm dangerous everywhere. And like at the minute, my striking's top tier, but in a couple of years, people will be realizing that I can sub you and from any position. I can wrestle, and I'm dangerous anywhere the fight needs to go. So it's just all about, obviously, just where the fight ends up. I'm dangerous everywhere.
You mentioned judo and BJJ, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're a black belt in both disciplines.
And kickboxing.
And kickboxing as well. Do you think specifically the judo and BJJ, do you think that maybe what sets you apart from these other UK fighters that are coming through? Because obviously you see some fighters have a really good in one discipline, but obviously yourself, you're credentialed in multiple disciplines, pro boxing, BJJ black belt, judo black belt, kickboxing black belt. Do you think this is what sets you apart from the other UK athletes that everyone wants to keep an eye on?
Yes and no. Obviously, like, I am who I am because of the way I've sort of come through and the stuff I've done previously. But like, the main thing that sets me apart is just my own mentality on it. Like, the way I analyze fights, the way I break down fights, the way we do everything. Like, a lot of people don't understand how intelligent you have to be and to be a modern day fighter the way it is now. Like, it's all about breaking these down, these 1%, and find out what people do well. Like, I remember Gilbert Burns taught a seminar, and he was saying about how he beat Gunnar Nelson. I'm sure it's Gunnar Nelson. And he said all he did was leading up to it is he practiced one defense. So if Gunnar got him on his back, he did the same pass. So all he do was defend this pass. And like, at one point, Gunnar managed to get him on his back, and Gilbert had drilled this so much that as soon as Gunnar went for this pass he does every time, Gilbert stopped it and sort of counted him straight away, and you could kind of was lost. And the fact that he had to wait, he was sort of shocked and was like, shit, this doesn't work. That's when he lost the fight. And it's all about that. It's all about stopping what someone does well and making your strengths count.
I want to get your opinions on the Welsh MMA scene at the moment, because obviously you've got yourself, Corey McKenna, Jack Shaw, who just fought, I believe, last week and got a good win. Brett Johns in Bellator, Jack Marshman. Not just the UFC, but how strong is the MMA game from Wales in any promotion?
So, like, Jack said after his last win, he said, like, they wanted to prove that people in Wales can wrestle, and like, that you don't need to travel for camps. And like, I agree and disagree. Like, for me, I travel mainly because, like, a lot of the high level people in Wales just aren't the right weights for me. They're not big enough. There's no one sort of like who has a big enough build that would actually fit my training for me. So for me, I think traveling is more than good enough. But like, if you're a bantamweight or a featherweight, there's high level training everywhere in Wales you can get. And like I said, like, everyone's legit. Like, if you look at Jack, like, Jack fought a high level wrestler and used his game plan to win. Like, it wasn't the cleanest wins of Jack. I think Jack will agree that's not the cleanest win he's ever had. But you see, the UFC is like I said, doesn't matter what happens in there. Look at Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis fought a 5-fight against Streve. He got hit everywhere for 5 rounds. Wasn't in the fight at all. And 30 seconds for the end, he hits him overhand right, knocks him out cold. Do you think people are going to say, oh, remember that time Derek Lewis got beat up for 5 rounds, but then managed to get a knockout? No, all they're going to say in a couple of years is, oh, Derek Lewis beat him. Oh, look, he got a knockout in the last round. That's all that matters. Like, it doesn't matter how these fights go. Like, this whole thing, like, people were messaging me after my last fight saying, oh, I was close, or I had you done as winning. Like, that stuff doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't interest me. There's no excuses in the fight game. Like, there's so many excuses I could have gave. Like, I could have said, like, oh, this went wrong. Oh, I didn't feel like this, and this happened, and oh, I should have done this. None of that matters. None of that cares. Who cares? All that matters is winning and losing.
I don't know how much time you got, but I just want to go into your Cage Warriors time as well. Obviously, you was champ in lightweight and welterweight, so great accomplishment. Obviously, the only 2 other people that have achieved champ status is Conor McGregor and Dan Hardy. Do you believe? Well, how does it feel to be amongst the names of those guys?
Good. Sets me a good precedent, and like, those guys were top tier UFC fighters, and it just means that I'm going to work my way up to a top tier UFC fighter.
I want to ask about your last fight on Cage Warriors. Obviously, it was against Adam Proctor in September, I believe. Obviously, the first Cage Warriors trilogy. Before I go on about the fight itself, how was the experience on the Cage Warriors trilogy? Obviously, it was the first time they did the trilogy with the bubble, etc. in Manchester. What was that experience like?
Long. It was a long weekend. Obviously, I was the main event of the last night, so I did a lot of waiting around, a lot of sort of staying there, and a lot of people did take it sort of as if it was like a holiday, like they were sat downstairs laughing and joking with each other. And I've never been that type of person. Like, I'll say hello and I'll be polite, but for me, like, I'm a nasty person when it comes to fight week. Like, I'm there for work, and I'm there to just destroy whoever's in front of me. So, like, I wasn't there to make friends. I was just there to go and do what I had to do and get the job done, and I did. So it was nice, but again, I'm glad to be amongst the UFC now.
Again, before I go on about the Adam Proctor fight, how does a UFC fight week and a Cage Warriors fight week compare? Because obviously you've experienced them both now.
I think I'd probably be going from playing for like a local football team, somewhere this mid-tier, to playing for some of the championship teams. It's just everything's better. Like, obviously I was a bit. I was lucky to fight an Abu Dhabi card, so they flew us in on a private plane. It was a chartered plane, so not a private plane, a chartered plane. We flew in, we landed at the airport. We were taken all through all the back doors, loaded onto a coach, taken to the hotel, which was the Bubble, a 5-star hotel in Abu Dhabi. That was literally a whole reserved for fighters. Had everything included, a swimming pool, our own different restaurants and things for after the fight. Like, the resources they have, so like the UFC PI help your weight cutting, your food, like we'd call up and they deliver wherever we wanted to room service for food. We had physios on call, so like I seen a physio before the fight and loads of different things, and they look after you so well. It's just next level stuff. Like, it is really big time.
As we know, you're a lightweight and you was a champ like we've mentioned in welterweight and lightweight. What made you want to take the fight against Adam? Obviously, you're predominantly a lightweight, so what made you want to make that step up in weight?
I wanted a challenge. I wanted to show that I can stand with the top level lightweight guys, and like, to do that, I think I needed to go above and beyond. So fighting a welterweight and proving I could beat a welterweight, because it's a big divide between lightweight and welter. Like, it is a bit of a bigger stream to cross than like featherweight to lightweight, or flyweight to bantam, or bantam to feather. Like, it's a bit bigger going from lightweight to feather. Like, it's an extra 5 pounds, which don't seem like much until you realize how much weight these guys cut. So proving that I can stand with the best welter just was, for me, just proving that I could deal with anyone lightweight, and it did. I made the statement I wanted to. I had another first round finish, and that jetted me off to the UFC.
I just want to go back to your UFC debut. Obviously, like we mentioned, it was close loss, but like you said, it's still a loss. How have you handled that, and how did you handle it and then get back into the gym?
Same as I handle everything. You go back, you pick the positives and negatives out, and you build on them, and you go back. Like, I'm the greatest lightweight in the world. If not now, I will be in a few years, and all that's left for me to do is to prove that's true. And I've been saying that for a long time. So all I have to do is wake up every morning, train as hard as I can, improve every time, just keep gaining those 1%. And next time is going to be a different card. And the next fight after that, the next fight after that, I'm just going to keep getting better. Like, Max Holloway lost his debut fight. Dustin Poirier lost his debut fight. Like, do you know what I mean? It happens to these guys. And sometimes you just have to take a loss to build back up. And that's what I've done, and that's what I'm going to do.
With every UFC fighter, it's going to be your goal to be UFC champion. Is there a time frame you want to achieve that by, or are you just going to take every step as it comes?
Before I retire would be a good one. No, to be fair, like, any time in the next 5 years is going to be perfect. Like, I think lightweight especially, you start hitting champion status about 28, 29, like at 25 years of age in a minute. Even if I go on a big tear, especially 4 or 5 fights, maybe 6 fights away from a title. So for me, it's just slowly we're working it up and just beating everyone who's in front of me.
I've just got a couple more questions and one I'll ask off camera, but can we get a prediction for your fight come June 5th?
Sacramento girl.
Good stuff. And a couple more. For someone that wants to be an MMA fighter, say they walk into the gym doors and they don't know how to start and they need a bit of advice. If you could give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
Find yourself a good team that works well with you. Like, a lot of people will go for big gyms and think that because it's a big gym, it'll fit you well. You have to build personal relationships with your coaches. You have to be able to trust your coach. So find coaches that work well with you and just keep striving every day to be better, improve on what you're going to do. And if you're getting on a bit, you just have to push harder. You have to be obsessed with sport. So constantly watching footage, constantly working on what you need to do. Like, everyone concentrates on the money side of things, and the fame, it's not like that. You just have to focus every day on being the best version of yourself.
Is there any shout outs or sponsors that you want to give a quick shout out to?
Sorry. Yeah, so big shout out to SD Sealants. Big sponsor of mine. Watch the Wales, another big sponsor of mine. PMP Builders. Again, they've supported me since I was a kid. CCS Scaffolding. They've helped out a lot. The Tammy Fight Wear is obviously a big sponsor of mine. UFC Wales helped fund this camp. They sent me some money, so that's my spending money I've been spending out here. Paid me in dollars as well, so I made it better. What's Christie's company called? Oh God. Yeah. That'll do. I forgot the rest. So yeah, pretty much. Big thanks to everyone who supported. If anyone does want a sponsor, get in touch. Drop me a message. I'm always looking for new sponsors. Next time I can get a nicer apartment.
And how can people find yourself on social media?
So I'm actually everywhere on social media. I've got my own YouTube channel, Macy Jones MMA. That's growing. We're almost at 2K followers, so it's going well. My Instagram just hit 20K followers, so again, it's growing well. Twitter, I'm on Twitter, Mason Jones 1995. Literally, like, I normally just go on Twitter to send people videos that I do reply to the odd tweet, but the amount of abuse fighters get on Twitter, I try and leave it much alone. And I got my Facebook athlete page. If you drop that message, one of my coaches will get back to you.
100%. And everyone, make sure you, like Mason said, he's got his own YouTube. Go subscribe to that and subscribe to the Overtime Heroics YouTube channel. But I'll ask you the question off camera, but before we go, I just want to say thank you for coming on, Mason. It's been a pleasure as always, pal.
Oh, thanks for having me on, mate. It's always a pleasure. And I like the T-shirt behind you.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me that as well. Thanks, mate. Take care.
Sure.